return, surrender, and act. This is how you become whole in what you're meant to be. Return, surrender, and act. Continue to return to the current moment. The present is the gift of life. And while you're grounded in the present, embracing all that life gives you with gratitude, embracing the bad with the good, and knowing it's all part of your story, with appreciation, into growth, surrender to your inspirations by acting on them. Surrender is the most powerful word that there is, because the first step to being inspired is to surrender. And then when you get your inspirations, they're powerful when you act on them. The acting on them is the most important part. Encourage more, starting with yourself. Know that you're good enough to do it. If you're getting inspired to do something, then you're meant to be doing that. So you are good enough to do it. So go do it. Just do it, just do it, just do it. Just do it, just do it, just do it. Build your courage by doing it. If you feel like you got it right, just do it. Whenever you feel like you got it right, just do it. With gratitude for all of the guidance that the gift of life gives you. Change your fear to excitement. Return to the present moment. Surrender to your inspirations and act on them. Live your life on purpose. Real Magic by Wayne Dyer. Reading number 25. We are in an age of spiritual revolution. Back in 1974, Wayne Dyer says, I was a university professor in the divided city of Berlin. I stood at Checkpoint Charlie and saw how the barbed wire and guards with vicious dogs kept the city divided. The wall was built to last 1,000 years, yet today it's nothing more than a relic of an ancient, non-spiritual past. That shrine of tyranny is but one of many that are toppling faster than we can update the history books. There is a new collective consciousness in the minds of people, and a new spiritual awareness is spreading throughout humanity. Nothing can stop it. Nothing is more important than an idea whose time has come. An idea is a thought, individual or collective, that once spread to enough souls manifests in physical changes. If the collective thoughts are of war, hatred, divisiveness, and fear, those seeds are manifested in our physical reality, and indeed, we have seen those seeds blowing in the wind for a long time. Now we see a new reality, a reality that comes from a new way of thinking, and this is the context of our spiritual revolution. This new way of thinking is consequently a new way of being for humanity. It may not be fast enough to suit your desires, but it's moving along at precisely the right speed. The leaders that are emerging from this new consciousness will be in the forefront of the spiritual revolution. You can be one of those leaders and be part of the changing paradigm that you are witnessing. Consider some of the remarkable changes that are presently occurring. The Iron Curtain has disintegrated. In Eastern Europe, virtually all of the countries whose governments trampled individual rights have been transformed. The dictators have fled or been forcibly removed. It began with an idea in one country and spread rapidly across the entire region. Okay, when was this book published again? Let's see. This book was published in 1923. Prophet, 1991. Wait. There's so many dates in here. Grateful announcement was made to Associated Press, permission to reprint 1991. Excerpt from The Prophet, 1923. It can't, no, it's not written in 1923. Okay. Real Magic, 1992. There it is. 1992. This book was published in 1992. Okay, and I'm reading it in 2025. Okay. published in 1992. This book was published in 1992. Back to the book. Communism, which insists upon atheism from its subjects, has been declared an international failure. No one can tell the people that they must disregard their spiritual nature in favor of a doctrine imposed upon them. Rulers can remove the outer places of worship, but the inner place, that invisible corner of freedom that is ever present in each of us, cannot be legislated. The inner voice, the inner voices of these spiritual beings having a human experience are connected in an invisible way. We have witnessed miracles taking place all over our world recently. In 1992, a playwright in Czechoslovakia imprisoned for his radical ideas on the dignity of people is elected to the presidency of his country only a few years later. A man imprisoned for his views on solidarity, a man imprisoned for his views on solidarity in Poland is elected to the presidency of his country. Dictators are forcibly ousted from Romania. The Balkan people declare their freedom from tyrannical rule to a listening world and attempt a rational discussion instead of violence. The top leader of the Soviet Union declares communism a total failure for the world's ears to hear and report. And now, that same union is a relic of the past. Wasn't it not too long ago that one of those leaders pounded his shoe on a desk and said, "We will bury you"? Each of those scenes is miraculous. They exemplify that thought in the shape of ideas can spread like wildfire through the universe. It does not need a physical vehicle to carry the message. It transcends such mundane methods. It's invisible, this idea, and it is spreading without any vehicles or carriers. In China, where more than 1 billion souls are temporarily residing, okay, there's a lot more now. 1 million of those souls faced tanks to demonstrate their desire for freedom. And while the messengers can temporarily be imprisoned, the message cannot be halted. In South Africa, all vestiges of apartheid have been declared to be illegal. In one miraculous instant, a man who had been imprisoned and kept from the public eye for more than a quarter century is suddenly released, with no conditions. Black people are playing on beaches in front of signs that say whites only. In Central America, a dictator is replaced by a housewife in an election of the people. In South America, a poet runs for national office. These changes are all taking place in the minds of individuals and spreading to others to form a collective consciousness. Once the ideas become present in a large enough number of us, they become our reality. This number is called a critical mass. According to the laws of physics, when enough electrons line up within an atom to form a position, then all the rest automatically line up in a similar fashion. This is called phase transition. And it's easily observable in the proper laboratory setting. What is the invisible force present within that atom that allows all the rest of the electrons to move into a new phase? It's nameless at the subatomic level, and it's nameless at your level of awareness. It's invisible, and since you are made up of those subatomic particles, it's not too big a stretch to say that you have some of the same properties. Our world is experiencing phase transition. The invisible force that aligns the electrons within an atom, that spiritual intelligence that flows through all form, is reaching critical mass in a large enough number of humans, and the results are being manifested in our world. The force cannot be stopped. Some will try, but they will be swept away by the power of an idea whose time has come. It works in our personal lives, and it works in our collective world as well. We become what we think about all day long. When enough of us believed that we needed larger and larger weapons of destruction, we created a collective consciousness that forced us to act upon those invisible beliefs. We built bigger and bigger atomic weapons, and the madness of nuclear proliferation described our world conditions. When enough of us began to believe that a nuclear holocaust was too horrible to permit, we began discussing disarmament. The miracle of cooperation rather than competition is the beginning phase of a transition to a more positive, safe, loving world. Collaborate. Don't compete. Collaborate. Cooperate. Collaborate. Collaborate. Say, I don't compete, I collaborate. So we can have a more positive, safe, loving world. It's an idea. It will catch on in the physical world when enough of us choose to so align ourselves in a spiritual manner. It cannot fail. It's in our atoms and molecules, so to speak. The changes in the world are not restricted to political realignments and new nuclear policies. The new spiritual consciousness toward our environment has manifested itself into action as well. Earth Day, which has been overlooked for 2 decades, celebrated the new consciousness toward our planet. A miracle. The idea that we want to treat the earth with sacred reverence is being translated into physical realities. New legislation to reduce every kind of pollution imaginable is being mandated, along with penalties for those who violate these new laws. Automobiles that will not pollute the atmosphere are being mass-produced. smokers can no longer pollute airplane interiors with nicotine. Old news. We have known for decades that it's immoral to force people in a restricted environment, such as an airplane, to inhale other people's cigarette smoke if their personal choice is not to use cigarettes. Why is it now being outlawed with legislation and enforcement? An idea whose time has come. A miracle? Lawmakers are listening to the voices of those who are thinking in new ways. Those thoughts are invisible, and their physical world equivalents are quite observable. You are seeing the fruits of those thoughts blooming everywhere. You are seeing no smoking sections in restaurants. No smoke. There's no smoking in any restaurant ever now. Anywhere. You cannot smoke inside a restaurant anymore, Wayne Dyer. This is 2025 now, okay? No smoking sections. Come on. Okay. You're seeing rivers and lakes, once so dirty that swimming was outlawed, being cleaned up and revitalized with a new consciousness as a driving force behind these moves. You know, I don't smoke anymore, alright? I do remember sitting in a Denny's with my friend trying to teach me how to French inhale. And I was like, anyway, whatever. Yeah, I'm old enough for that. I figured out how to do it, but I don't smoke anymore, alright? I don't smoke now. I even have a sign. It's called I Don't Smoke. I even have a song. Did I say sign? I have a song now that's called I Don't Smoke. I'm not going to sing it right now. Okay. You are seeing noise abatement legislation to eliminate noise pollution around airports and even at public beaches. You are seeing new regard for the dignity of animals. You are seeing labels on all of your food purchases so that you will know how much fat and how many additives you are consuming. All miracles. These new laws and practices all originated in the minds of people. And those invisible minds created a new physical world reality, a reality that is more spiritual in nature. The rights of an individual to live peacefully, in harmony, lovingly, and on purpose are all reflections of a new way of thinking. All the changes you see taking place around you that reflect growing concern for the individual, for a peaceful, safe, harmonious world, for the right to be able to choose life, liberty, and the pursuit of blissful happiness are part of a glorious revolution that is taking place first and most importantly in our thoughts. You are a part of that process. Whatever thoughts you have can and will spread to those around you. You influence the physical world with your thoughts. Of that, you want to be most convinced if you have read this entire book. Your thoughts create either prosperity or scarcity in your life. Your thoughts create either joyous or miserable relationships. Your thoughts create your personality and the very physical circumstances of your life. Those same thoughts affect others around you. The pure thoughts of a spiritual being affect the physical conditions of the environment. They literally raise the consciousness of the people around that spiritual person. You and your thoughts and the millions of others who are selecting similar spiritual inner thoughts are creating a phase transition that has brought into being this fabulous new spiritual revolution. Yeah, if you're not feeling good, if you're ever not feeling good, then check your thoughts. What are you thinking about? I'm talking off the book here. What are you thinking about? Whenever you're not feeling good, are you thinking about the past or the future that don't even exist? Or are you focused on what's happening right now? What are you thinking about what's happening right now? Are you thinking about all the stuff that you don't like? All the challenges? Or are you thinking about what you're becoming? How are you growing through these challenges? You're not going through challenges. You're not supposed to be. If you're feeling bad, then you're focusing on going through challenges. Change it to growing. How are you growing through these challenges? How are you growing through these challenges? Think about that. Ask yourself that. Whenever you're feeling bad, ask yourself, how am I growing through these challenges? What's the purpose of these challenges in my life right now? What am I supposed to be becoming? Why is this happening? So I can become, what am I here to be doing? How am I growing through this? And see if that helps you feel better. When you figure out the reason why why these challenges are happening to you, then you feel better. And then that's when you act on that. You know that you're good enough and you act. You figure out the reason why and you act on that. You figure out the reason why and you act on that. With excitement. You figure out the reason why you're feeling bad. How is it helping you grow through life? And then when you act on that, you feel better. Stop procrastinating. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Encourage yourself. Encourage yourself. You got this. You got it. Just do it. You got it. Just do it. Feel like you got it right. Just do it. Back to the book. Your thoughts create either prosperity or scarcity in your life. Your thoughts create either joyous or miserable relationships. Your thoughts create your personality and the very physical circumstances of your life. Those same thoughts affect others around you. The pure thoughts of a spiritual being affect the physical conditions of the environment. They literally raise the consciousness of the people around that spiritual person. You and your thoughts and the millions of others who are selecting similar spiritual inner thoughts are creating a phase transition that has brought into being this fabulous new spiritual revolution. If this revolution, this new way of being, is to take hold and overcome all of the remaining non-spiritual, if this revolution, this new way of being, is to take hold and overcome all of the remaining non-spirituality that infects the world, it will have to reach critical mass in all areas of our existence. When enough of us align in each and every area of human activity, when enough of us align in each and every area of human activity, then the phase transition will take hold. In 1988, thank you for providing a date this time. In 1988, I was invited to write a piece that was published in Time magazine as part of an advertising campaign. I wrote a letter to the people who will be occupying Earth in the year 2088. I had no restrictions placed upon me by the advertiser. I had no restrictions placed upon me by the advertiser or the magazine. 2088. Here is that letter as it appeared in the October 17, 1988 issue of Time. It reflects the message that I am offering in this book. This insert is titled A Letter to the Next Generation. As I prepare this message for people living in 2088, I find my thoughts are not about futuristic or scientific wonders you enjoy. My curiosity is not about your ability to travel to outer space. My curiosity has to do with this. Have you evolved into a higher human being than those of us on Earth in 1988? Definitely. We have to. That's why, that's all we're doing here is evolving. My message to you centers on the hope that you are more human, that you are more humane than we are now. I wonder if you are practicing the vital lessons a few of us in 1988 believe humanity will someday master. I wonder if you have been able to move beyond distrust, fear, and hostility. My message of hope is addressed to you in the form of 4 questions. Your answers will describe where you are in the evolution of this higher human being, now stirring to life here in 1988. 1. This first sentence, which is a question, is italicized. Have you learned that your humanity lies beyond the boundaries of the body? Do you know and live the idea that a person is much more than a pile of bones, blood, gristle, and skin? Do you recognize that within all form is an invisible intelligence? Is there general acceptance and delight in knowing that persons are much more than their packaging? Is it, quote, socially acceptable to develop the invisible aspect of yourself as we do today by choosing aerobics or jogging for physical development? This sentence is a question and it's italicized. Can you see yourselves as spiritual beings having a human experience rather than human beings who may be having a spiritual experience? This is what I mean. My 3-year-old daughter presented me with a make-believe meal on her plastic toy dishes. On that level, it was a physical, form-only interaction that could have been considered unimportant. On another level, the invisible, the formless part of her was expressing, quote, Daddy needs to eat something warm and I want him to have a special dinner. I love my daddy and I want to take good care of him. My awareness of that invisible part of her, her thoughts and feelings, which are pure love, transformed the plastic toys and make-believe food. I could almost touch those beautiful, caring thoughts in back of her actions. 2. The first sentence is a question that's italicized. Have you learned and adopted the understanding that we are all connected? Here on Earth in 1988, we seem to know intellectually that we are living in the same house, and that when you live on a round planet, you can't afford to choose sides. And we continue to choose sides. Do you live with the awareness that each human being is a, quote, me that is we? Do the majority of people see that one cell within an organism which has no reference to the whole will destroy adjacent cells, eventually killing the entire being while destroying itself in the process? Are you guiding your young people to develop serenity and ease within themselves so they will cooperate with the cells adjacent to them? Are your nations at ease within, or are they still acting out their aggressive images on their neighbors? Are you in 2088 seeing and experiencing the belief that each human being on our planet is just as interconnected as geographic neighbors, and that the total being called human being cannot function harmoniously when the components are in conflict. I have a question. I want to ask this question. Off the book, I want to ask this question. Last night, I was giving out food, and I decided, I didn't set up my table this time. I decided to walk around and serve it to people out of the cart this time. And the first place I stopped had a whole bunch of people there. I gave out a few meals, a few hot meals, and there were so many other people there who were more concerned about doing drugs than eating food. So my question is, how can we help these people? They're more interested in killing themselves than getting some food and water. They're more interested in killing themselves with drugs than getting some food and water. On the street. How can we help these people better? Three, the first sentence is an italicized question. Do the majority of you see that what you think about expands? As I write, some of us are nurturing these ideas like seedlings. The power of thought is enormous. We can create thought. Out of thought comes the entire direction of our lives. We act on our thoughts. We become what we think about all day long. In the dimensionless world of thought, everything we think is here. We have the ability to turn any thought into form with the power of mind. Thought is a formless energy which comprises our essential humanity. Our lives are what our thoughts create. We are just beginning to recognize the importance of thoughts as the most powerful force in the universe. There is a new awareness and application of these ideas. Instead of being against terrorism and war. We are shifting our thoughts to being for peace and cooperation. We are beginning to recognize that a war on drugs, poverty, hunger, and crime is not as effective as being for an enlightened, educated youth, a higher standard of living for all, and respect for each other's rights and possessions. If you're living on the street, how can you have respect for people's possessions? I gave someone a fold-up chair last night. After I served him, and he was sitting in the chair, falling asleep in the food that I just gave him. I was like, hey, what's up? Your food's getting cold. What's up? He told me his last chair got thrown into the garbage. I was wondering how long it was going to take for this chair to get thrown into the garbage that I just gave him. He's like, ooh, this is a nice one. It's like, okay, maybe when they come around with the dumpster next time, you want to hang on to this one. I gave some people some metal spoons last night. I told them that they were lucky silver spoons, hoping that that would help them hang on to them, trying to save the world from waste while I'm doing this too. I don't want to give out plastic spoons. I don't want to buy more plastic spoons that contribute more waste. I'm trying to get them to hold on to a metal spoon. I'm calling it a lucky silver spoon. Trying to convince them that when you use this, it's going to bring you luck. So hang on to it. I like to reuse water bottles from this type of celery juice that I buy. It looks like it's shaped like a genie bottle. And I say to them, this is a magic bottle. When you drink out of it, it helps bring you what you want. Trying to get them to hang on to the magic bottle. Okay, where was I in this book? So it was about possessions. Possessions. How long before all of the possessions are going to be in the dumpster? Where does it go once it gets in the dumpster? Does it go to Goodwill? Does a dumpster go to Goodwill? No, I don't think so. Okay. Possessions, there it is. Do you understand that what we think about expands into action? And therefore, cultivating thoughts of what you are for. Cultivating thoughts of what you are for results in a healthier, happier, and more peaceful society. Do you recognize that being against anything weakens you, while being for something empowers you? For begins with the question that's italicized. Have you discovered the other side of, quote, I'll believe that when I see it? It's, I'll see it when I believe it, is how it really goes. I'll see it when I believe it. In 1988, there is an awakening to the idea that the development of a higher human being is a process involving the understanding that, italicized, you see what you believe rather than you believe what you see. You see what you believe rather than you believe what you see. Has this belief system led to the development of a higher human being? In 1983, Wayne Dyer says, I wrote a parable in which a higher human being named Ichus visits our world. She brings gifts in the form of thoughts to assist us in transforming ourselves and our planet. Her message proclaims, quote, you'll see it when you believe it. Every letter in there is, the first letter in every one of these words is capitalized. You'll see it when you believe it. I think it's because that's the title of one of Wayne Dyer's books. He also has a book called Gifts from Ichus. I think both of them are sitting right over there on the shelf waiting for me to read them. Did these beliefs, which Ichus describes, move you toward this kind of thinking in 2088? Quality rather than appearance. Ethics rather than rules. Knowledge rather than achievement. Integrity rather than domination. Serenity rather than acquisitions. If the answer is, quote, yes, then indeed a higher human being is in process. And the trend toward destroying this being called human being has been reversed. My connection to you is pure, formless, dimensionless thought, and so too is your link back to me in 1988 and forward to infinity. New heading, your place in this spiritual revolution. Throughout this book, I have reminded you of one central theme, italicized. Your thoughts create your physical reality. Your relationships to those in your life are essentially located in your thoughts. If you see love in those around you, that is what will expand in your experience of others. This is also true of your worldview. The physical universe that you see is all in your mind. When you turn your mind off or become unconscious, the physical universe for you disappears. Then, when you awaken your consciousness, the universe reappears magically. Quite simple, really. No thoughts on your part, no physical world. As Walt Whitman succinctly stated, quote, the whole theory of the universe is directed unerringly to one single individual, namely you, with a capital Y, you, end quote. Without your mind to process it, the universe simply disappears into nothingness. The most important question to ask yourself as you seek your place in this spiritual revolution I have described is, quote, how do I see the world I live in? How do I see the world I live in? Albert Einstein, I'm talking about the book, Albert Einstein said the most important question you could ask yourself is, do I live in a hostile universe or a friendly universe? Wouldn't it be better if you chose friendly? Don't you think it would be better if you chose friendly? How do I see the world I live in? The most important, Wayne Dyer says, the most important question you could ask yourself as you seek your place in this spiritual revolution I have described is, how do I see the world I live in? Keeping in mind that thoughts are yours to create and that your mind is the repository for all that you experience. Take a good look at how you use that mind. Thoughts are yours to create, and that your mind is the repository for all that you experience. If you want, you can deny that spiritual revolution I have described and instead see a world that is slowly but surely deteriorating into a non-spiritual morass, whatever. You can cite crime rates, starving populations, natural disasters, greedy politicians, inconsiderate young people, increased drug dependence, and so on. And you can make a strong case for a non-spiritual environment. If you choose to use your mind in this way, that will be your experience of the world you live in. That is what you will see each and every day. In other words, italicized, you will see what you believe. You will explain away the changes that are a positive nature. You will explain away the changes that are of a positive nature by insisting that they are only exceptions to the rule. And for you, that rule is whatever you have convinced yourself is the true nature of where humanity is headed. Not only do you become what you think about, the world also becomes what you think about. Those who think the world is a dark place are blind to the light that might illuminate their lives. Those who see the light of the world view, those who see the light of the world view the dark spots as merely potential light. Those who see the light of the world view the dark spots as merely potential light. Where is your place in this spiritual revolution? Fundamental changes are taking place in the collective bosom of humankind. If you believe those changes are negative and destructive, that will be your place. You will think it, convince yourself of it, and create the intentions to verify it for yourself repeatedly. On the other hand, you can choose to know that for every act of unkindness, there are a million kind acts. That there is a network of good people out there who are truly making a difference, and that the spiritual changes, while slow, are still present and observable. That, then, will be your place in the spiritual revolution. The changes are taking place first in the collective minds of people and then in the outer world as well. You are here on purpose to help make those changes manifest more profoundly and permanently into the consciousness of all humankind. Trusting yourself means that you are trusting the wisdom that designed and created you in the first place, and knowing that you are on purpose. You know that the universe is also on purpose. You are trusting in the divine intelligence that flows through you. You're trusting in the divine intelligence that flows through you. Wayne Dyer says, I personally attempt to remove myself from the bad news that is thrust at me in 1,000 different ways. I want to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem. Obviously, I am aware that there are still wars being waged, crimes being committed, and poverty and suffering in the world. My thoughts are not on judging those problems or being mad at them or wishing they would go away. My thoughts, which will expand into action, are on doing something about those problems, by convincing those in powerful positions to direct their resources toward fixing things, by writing about and teaching these principles to those who need them the most, by sending books and tapes to needy institutions and the like. When I am focused on what I am for, rather than what I am against, Wayne Dyer would have worded that much differently if he wrote this book now in 2025. He'd be saying things like, by posting more good things, by creating Zoom groups in more positive ways, stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? In 25 years, no one's not going to know what Zoom means, probably. People will be like, what's Zoom? Now I'm in this, whatever it's called. We're evolving. Use what you got. Obviously, Wayne Dyer says, I am aware that there are still wars being waged, crimes being committed, and poverty and suffering in the world. My thoughts are not on judging those problems or being mad at them or wishing they would go away. My thoughts, which will expand into action, are on doing something about those problems by convincing those in powerful positions to direct their resources toward fixing things, by writing about and teaching these principles to those who need them the most, by sending books and tapes to needy institutions and the like. When I am focused on what I am for, rather than for what I am against, I am empowered. This is true in my individual life, and it's true in my larger role here on this planet. Your place in this revolution will solidify if you fill yourself with love. You cannot be sustained by tension, anxiousness, fear, and doubt. These are inhibitors rather than empowering emotions. To become a part of the spiritual revolution, you must be able to radiate outward all that you are gaining in your spiritual consciousness. You have the power to do just that if you make that choice. New heading, radiating your new consciousness outward. What do you have to give away? Keeping in mind that your purpose is always about giving, loving, and serving in some capacity, regardless of what vocation you have chosen. This question of what you will be able to give away as your purposeful mission is paramount. It does not take any extra special intelligence to know this simple truth, italicized. You cannot give away what you don't have. If you don't have any money, obviously you can't give money away. The same principle applies to your contribution to the spiritual revolution. If you don't have love, harmony, and peace within you, then you simply cannot contribute these qualities. Consequently, you will be among those who are watching this revolution take place, either wondering why they are not part of it or being part of the resistance. If you have anxiety, stress, fear, anger, and tension within, that is all that you will be able to give away. That is what you will be radiating outward, and obviously that is what you will be seeing all around you. The choice, as always, is yours, based upon how you choose to process your world. The components of anxiety, stress, fear, and anger do not exist independently of you in the world. You cannot go out with a bucket and bring home some of these things. They simply do not exist in the physical world. Even though we talk about them as if they did. But there are people acting stressfully, anxiously, angrily, and fearfully in the world. Those actions stem exclusively from a way of thinking. Thus, if you have those elements within you, it's because that's how you have chosen to process the events and circumstances of your physical universe. Those who choose to take up weapons against others are operating from fearful thoughts. The presence of those thoughts is justified by an inner processing system that verifies this behavior. These people believe that the world is a suspicious, dangerous place on both a personal level and a collective level. If you are a person who would like to discontinue this kind of behavior, then you will be required to change those inner voices. As Albert Einstein put it, quote, "The significant problems we have cannot be solved at the same level of thinking with which we created them," end quote. Thus, all the major problems that we humans face were created by our way of thinking. And the person who is considered one of the brightest, a man who is considered one of the brightest intellectual lights of our century, reminds us that a new way of thinking will be required to change them. We cannot go on thinking in divisive ways if we want to bring about unity on our planet. We cannot go on thinking in militant ways if we want to bring peace into our world. We cannot go on thinking in hateful ways if we want to bring love to our world. Each thought that develops into a helping, purposeful, loving act is your contribution. It matters not what others say or do. They have their own destinies to fulfill. When someone sends you criticism or hate, you can respond only with what you have inside. If harmony and peace reside because that is how you have chosen to think, then that is what you will have to give away. In that moment, you have made a difference. You have manifested a miracle into the world and radiated outward the real magic I have been describing. As you do this on your own personal and local level, you will find yourself expanding and reaching more and more people. That is precisely what has been happening with all the spiritual revolution changes you see around you. The green movement started in the minds of individuals and is now a worldwide phenomenon, giving the Nobel Peace Prize to the Dalai Lama, Tibet's exiled spiritual leader, a man whose very life reflects a spiritual consciousness and reverence for all living things. Started in the mind of one person and ultimately became a reality. The end of apartheid, just like its beginning, was first an idea. The ideas in your mind are just as powerful. The words of Michael Jackson, "We are the world. We are the children. We are the ones who make a better world. So let's start giving." Reflect a truly spiritual message. And those words have helped eliminate a large portion of hunger and starvation on our planet. You truly are the world, and your thoughts do make all the difference in this world. Have reverence for your mind. Treat your invisible inner reality with sacred, blissful appreciation, and know that you are capable of bringing about real magic in our world. And that every thought you have of love and harmony is one more atom aligning itself toward the phase transition that is inevitably occurring even now as you read these words and watch and listen to me read these words. New heading, how you can create a miracle in our world, is where I'll begin the next reading on page 259.
Return, surrender, and act. This is how you become whole and what you're meant to be. Return, surrender, and act. Continue to return to the current moment. The present is the gift of life. And while you're grounded in the present, embracing all that life gives you with gratitude, embracing the bad with the good, and knowing it's all part of your story, with appreciation into growth, surrender to your inspirations by acting on them. Surrender is the most powerful word that there is, because the first step to being inspired is to surrender. And then when you get your inspirations, they're powerful when you act on them. The acting on them is the most important part. Encourage more, starting with yourself. Know that you're good enough to do it. If you're getting inspired to do something, then you're meant to be doing that. So you are good enough to do it. So go do it. Just do it, just do it, just do it. Just do it, just do it, just do it. Build your courage by doing it. If you feel like you got it right, just do it.
Feel like you got it right, just do it.
Whenever you feel like you got it right, just do it.
Feel like you got it right, just do it.
With
Just
gratitude.
do it. Just do it.
For all of the guidance that the gift of life gives you. Change your fear to excitement. Return to the present moment. Surrender to your inspirations and act on them. Live your life on purpose. Real Magic by Wayne Dyer. Reading number 25.